Mariner and HarperAudio present The Headache, The Science of a Most Confounding Affliction, and a Search for Relief, by Tom Zeller Jr., read by George Newbern. A note before we begin, don't forget to download the enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider. It contains lists, notes, and more, and will be referred to throughout as the enhancement. To my parents who let me fly, and to Kathy, who keeps me grounded. Prologue. Molehills out of mountains. Pleasure is oft a visitant, but pain clings cruelly to us. John Keats, Endymion, 1818. In the spring of 2021, I was riding an e-bike up a steep mountain road in western Montana. I was happy and high as a kite. About an hour earlier, I had taken a large dose of psilocybin, delivered by way of dried psychedelic mushrooms supplied by friends. I'd taken mushrooms before, as a young person, a common dalliance at Grateful Dead shows or backyard parties in my teens and 20s. But in the 30 or so intervening years, my life had become one that did not really make room for tripping. I was, and remain, a professional journalist with a long reporting history, most of it at the New York Times. More recently, I co-founded a digital science magazine, and this work has kept me busy, and mostly garden variety in my indulgences. Still, excitement over the potential therapeutic effects of psychedelics had been swirling for a while, and at the time of that journey up the mountain, I needed therapeutics. I was battling cluster headaches, and they are, in a word, awful. I cannot explain the pain of a cluster headache, and it would be ludicrous to even try. At the same time, the pain is so extraordinary that I sometimes want to try. It is something superlative, supernatural. A tourist would take pictures of it as a towering monument or new world wonder. I want you to take in its bigness with me, to stand together in the shadow of its mass. But how? Writers and thinkers have spent hundreds of years trying to communicate pain, fumbling for clever or cutting words to describe its imprimatur on the psyche and the soul. St. Augustine called pain the greatest evil. Canadian sociologist Arthur Frank described pain as the black hole into which language seems to disappear. The endeavor is a literary cliché, and the feedstock for countless moody meditations, sociological, journalistic, anthropological, poetic, medical, and pop psychological parables steeped in metaphor and existential angst. Pain has an element of blank. It cannot recollect when it begun, or if there were a time when it was not. It has no future but itself. Its infinite contain its past, enlightened to perceive new periods of pain. That's pretty good. Or is it? Does it bridge a gap or speak only to those who already know? I think it's the latter, and if Emily Dickinson could not nail it, what hope have I here? I might ask you to imagine the most physically painful thing you've known. A broken bone, a slipped disc, a wicked burn, a kidney stone. And then invite you to relocate that pain, stretched over time and firing at its peak, to the inside of your head. A childbirth in your skull. Can you feel that? If you've experienced a cluster headache, I know you can feel it. If you haven't, and if you don't have migraines either, because those are their own dark valleys of head pain, how can I bring you there? Maybe I could tell you about the research. Some studies call my disorder suicide headache, while others suggest that it is among the worst pain disorders known to human beings. Further downstream in the swirling soup of low-budget self-help websites, you can find clickbaity articles that sort humanity's most painful conditions, shingles, sciatica, gout, into lists. You'll very often see cluster headache at or near the top. It sometimes helps to describe the spastic ancillary symptoms a single cluster attack delivers.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?